All right, let's talk about it. When Disney bought Star Wars, man, the hype was through the roof, right? A whole new trilogy, brand new stories. It felt like the galaxy was waking up again. But, well, for a lot of us, that initial excitement, it didn't last. So today, we're going to dig in and really unpack why the Disney era of Star Wars has had such a hard time sticking the landing. This quote it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly describes that feeling. First, there was this incredible rush of hope, like, yes, we're back. But that feeling just evaporated. It turned into disappointment and, honestly, a lot of division in the fandom. And for so many people, it wasn't just about a bad movie. It felt deeper, like something really fundamental about Star Wars was just slipping away. So, how in the world did we get to this point? Well, look, it's not just one thing. It's complicated. But to really get it, we're going to break this whole thing down into three big mistakes. Think of these as the core problems, from the big picture vision all the way down to the characters. All right, here's the game plan. We'll start with that initial feeling, then dive into the three big mistakes: the rush to get stuff out, the lack of a clear vision, and some questionable character choices. Then we'll talk about what actually worked, because it wasn't all bad. And finally, look at how this whole thing might be fixed. Okay, first up, the Force felt wrong. This is all about the promise versus the reality. I mean, the promise was huge, right? New stories, building on this incredible foundation we all grew up with. But the reality, wow, it was a real mixed bag. Some absolutely amazing moments, but also some incredibly frustrating lows that just left the fans feeling divided and, honestly, just tired. Which brings us right to our first big mistake. Things felt rushed, and fans got fatigued. We're talking about how too much Star Wars actually became a real problem. Think about it. A new Star Wars movie used to be this massive, once-in-a-generation event. But under Disney, it became a fire hose of content, just always on. And this right here is the heart of it. When everything is event TV, nothing feels special. Disney just kept pumping out project after project, and every single one was marketed as this can't-miss event. But come on, when you have a new event every couple of months, the word it doesn't mean anything anymore. And that special, magical feeling that made Star Wars, it just started to wear thin. And just look at this timeline. This really lays it all out. Instead of letting us get excited, letting anticipation build for the next big thing, it was just bam, bam, bam. A movie, then another movie, and a series, then a spin-off. The whole thing just got saturated. You could feel the quality control slipping. And honestly, even the good stuff kind of got lost in all the noise. People felt overwhelmed, not excited. So when you're pushing out that much content that fast, you expose your weaknesses. And that brings us to mistake number 2, no guiding vision. The galaxy was just being pulled in a million different directions. I mean, if you're going to build a universe that quickly, you'd better have a roadmap. And for a lot of us watching, it really felt like Star Wars was flying without one. Yeah, this was the question on everyone's mind. Who's in charge of the roadmap? We all expected this clear plan, especially for a whole new trilogy. I mean, look at what Marvel was doing with their phases. It was all mapped out. But with Star Wars, it felt like you had different directors, different writers, all pulling the story in their own direction with nobody at the top saying, hey, this is where we're all going together. And you could literally see this tug of war playing out on screen. One movie would be all about nostalgia, trying to make you feel like you were watching the original trilogy again. Then the very next movie would come along and try to tear all that down, subvert your expectations, and deconstruct everything. So what you got was a franchise that felt like it was fighting itself. Character arcs didn't make sense from one film to the next. It was chaotic. And all that chaos leads us right into the third big mistake. The characters just misfired. You had arcs and tones that just didn't connect. And look, even with the shaky plan, you can save a story with amazing characters. But for a lot of people, this is where the biggest disconnect happened. And the complaints got really specific. A lot of the new characters, who seemed so promising at first, just felt underwritten. Their stories didn't feel earned. Then you had some character choices that felt, a little forced, like they were there to push an agenda instead of serving the actual story. And the tone, my gosh, it would flip from the super grim drama to like broad comedy on a dime. It gave you whiplash, and you were left just feeling confused. Okay, but let's be fair here, it wasn't all a disaster. There was a glimmer of hope. we have to acknowledge that Disney actually got some stuff really, really right. There have been some absolute home runs in the Disney era, things that fans old and new absolutely loved. So the problem wasn't that everything failed. The real issue, the word that sums it all up, is inconsistency. It wasn't about total failure. It was about these amazing, incredible high points, these moments that felt like pure Star Wars, followed by these deep, deep valleys of frustration. That up and down roller coaster ride is what really wore the fans out. So, okay, we've diagnosed the problems. Now for the big question. Where do we go from here? Let's talk about how to fix the galaxy. What's the path forward? How could Disney actually turn this ship around and get everyone back on board? All right, here's a pretty straightforward 3-step plan. Number 1, slow the rollouts. Just pump the brakes. Let us get excited again. Make Star Wars feel special. Number 2, appoint a creative lead. Get one person with a bold, clear vision to steer the ship. And third, and this is huge, let the characters breathe. Let their stories grow naturally. Don't force things for fan service or some other agenda. Just focus on telling a great story. So in the end, it really all comes down to whether Disney can find that clear path forward. It's going to take vision, it's going to take patience, and more than anything, a real respect for what George Lucas created. And that leaves me with a question for all of you. Of all the different eras, the original trilogy, the prequels, or the Disney stuff, which one do you connect with the most? Let me know.